Hey man, I know it's been a while, and I have been pretty slammed. I'm doing stuff outside of drawing comics, and drawing the comics, and working on all these projects, and then just stuff going around the house. But, enough excuses. Let's move on to the print that I'm working on. Granite Con, or, geez, I guess that's me being promotional. Okay, since I've said it, GraniteCon is going to be on the 15th, 16th, and 17th. Let me look at my calendar real quick. And down one. Yes, 15th, 16th, and 17th. And it appears as though we've got about 2 weeks to get this print done, printed, and on our table at the convention, so that folks can take a look at the work and they can say, wow, Matt's a pretty talented kid. His dad is a schlub. I don't want that. That's not what I'm going for. What I'm going for is for you to learn what you'd like to learn and to show you from start to finish how a project like that works out. How it gets done, the thought process behind it, techniques, A to B, soup to nuts, how the sausage gets made, so to speak, except we're not killing pigs and putting them inside of their own intestines. The last thing we've got to do is draw Skeletor, because if you remember, we finished up Papyrus. I explained to you the whole force perspective and, concepts behind visual storytelling and the dynamics behind it, and hopefully any of the videos that you've watched before, it's given you a new appreciation for not only graphic storytelling, but artwork and things you see that are used to convey messages graphically. Hopefully, you can start with fine arts and you can stare at a painting and you can distinguish the story based on line work and color choices and angles. There's a lot to be seen from fine art, from work of, say, like the masters, or even, deco stuff, or things that are done in modern times. There's a lot to be seen, but once you know how to speak that language, the messages become a little bit clearer, and it becomes a lot easier for someone like you or I to enjoy it. Whereas you look at something and you're like, that's just a pig holding a donut or something like that. You can understand the message behind it once you understand how or what they do things for, the reasoning behind it. There's more coffee I need here. Alright, so on to Skeletor. Remember, we want Papyrus in the low position, looking up. What this does is it gives us a sense of looking from the perspective of hopelessness and powerlessness upward to the light source, which is going to be above Snake Mountain, and that is to inspire and to take away the thoughts of hopelessness and powerlessness. I noticed some stuff that I didn't do last time when I was cleaning things up, and I'm going to clean them up now. We will use the lasso tool because I'm kind of good at it. So, using the lasso tool takes practice, because you have to understand that the way the tool works in order to utilize it properly. Otherwise, it's a lot of frustration, and it's a lot of, damn it, I didn't want to do that. But you wound up doing it anyway. Where are we? Is that Papyrus? That's Papyrus. Oh, if that was his... Oh, that's on the Sketty's layer. There we go. Alright, so we got some little bits there on the Sketty layer, but we cleaned those right up. See? The problem there was that his cloak, his cape that he has, it was covering up some of the bones. But now that I look at it, it's not his cape, it is the steam coming off of the skitties. And I guess I could have just left that there. So let's Control Z and undo the heck out of it. There we go. What I'm going to do later is, when I'm doing colors, I'm going to do what's known as a hold. I'm going to hold over the bones lines, and I'm going to use the color of the spaghetti steam, and I'm going to take the hold layer and I'm going to reduce the opacity. So what's going to happen is you're going to be able to see the bones, the line work for the bones behind the spaghetti steam. It's going to be as if you're looking through the spaghetti steam at the bones. You got to trust me, kid. It's going to work out really well. It's an animation technique where you, instead of drawing black lines, you draw colored lines, and it makes things a little more visually interesting. Skeletor is there. I was using purple for guides on one of the other pieces that I'm working on. So what's going on there is that when we start sketching tighter on Skeletor, you're going to see purple. Or you will see clear because I didn't select the purple. And I'm on the eraser. Here we go. So see. Now when it comes to Skeletor's sword, it's if you remember the reference, it looks the same as Prince Adam's or He-Man's, if you're following the mythology. And originally, as I told you, the two swords would come together and make a key that you would use to open up the door to Castle Grayskull. And that was the mythology, was that Skeletor was looking to get Prince Adam's or He-Man's half of the Sword of Power so that he could open up the door to Castle Grayskull and get all the secrets and be like the most powerful sorcerer in Eternia. So there's the sword right there, right? So what I'm going to do is I just turn on reference. We have on the Skeletor stuff, because we're looking to use that sword for reference. We are going to where am I with the sketch layer? Is it that one? That one. Okay. So we're going to use this for reference. Alright. You see that little nub down towards right above the guard, the hand guard. And you know, weird perspectives always make things more interesting visually. You can very easily draw something 2D and flat and get by. Like normal people, sometimes I refer to them as muggles. Muggles like to look at artwork, and if it's flat like a coloring page, they'll patch on the head and they'll say, "Oh, that's a nice draw. You draw very well. I could draw when I was a kid, but I gave up and I never drew anymore." Or, "I used to draw when I was in school." Or, "I know somebody who can draw like that." The worst is when you hear, "Oh, my cousin can draw that." Fucking go call your cousin then. What do you want me to tell you? However, the point I'm trying to make is that when you are trying to visually tell a story, your camera angles and everything should work to help tell the story. And believe it or not, cinematography, movies, animation, they work hand in hand with you as an illustrator. They work hand in hand with helping you to look at and understand angles, camera angles, and how things get done. So in addition to learning how lines, colors, perspectives work, it always helps to know how camera angles get done or why they're done. Give you an example. I don't know if you've ever seen Boondock Saints, like the original movie. It was kind of like, it was a very independent film. It was about two kids whose they grew up in South Boston, and they were Irish, and they wound up becoming hitmen, and they were really good at it. They didn't want to become hitmen, but I guess they did. It turns out their father is an incredible hitman, like a very vicious hitman, and he's played by Billy Connolly. Now, story and plot points aside, a lot of the angles on the movie are shot at a forced perspective from what they call a worm's eye view. They're down and they're going up. And it's specifically when they're around the churches. They get a lot of the steeples and they're aiming up so that you can see the cross on the top of the steeples. And the reason for that is that that movie is meant to give you hope as it pertains to the religious themes in it. The movie is all about these guys who become hitmen so that they can right the wrongs that society allows, and they do it in the name of God. It doesn't seem like it because they take really extreme measures, but they do it in the name of God. They do it because they feel as though they're doing God's work. And so the movie has a lot of religious themes to it. So those camera angles pointing up to the steeples essentially is like, hey, don't give up hope. Like, God loves you. That's essentially what it is. And that's why the movie works as the little guy, you know, the little guy is winning in the end. And that's what you want to take into account is cinematography. I get that it seems as though I'm babbling, but there is a point. My point is that it gets used in movies a lot so that you can take it and use it in your illustration, which is why me drawing Skeletor's sword sideways is a lot more interesting than me drawing Skeletor's sword flat, which the hand can rotate, the hand can do, but I'm going to use a lot of character acting and angles and facial expression, which is hard to do with just a skull, but it can be done. It can be done. There are a lot of tips and tricks that you can use from animators that pay off really well when you're drawing flat 2D or like just regular comics. If you learn those principles and you work towards them and become good at them, if you were to say, I don't know, make a video game or do any sort of computerized animation to that effect for an app, for yourself, for a website, if you were to do any of that, use any of the character animation principles for like facial expression or just character animation, it would push you a little bit farther than somebody who just comes in and goes, wow, that looks good. If you can feel what you're drawing, you're doing a great job. If you draw something and you feel the emotional or kinetic energy from what it is you're drawing, you're doing a great job. And the frustrating part would be, oh, fuck, how do I get there? Because that's what I want, but how do I get there? You have to practice. It is not something that you can just wake up and it happens, like you get your mutant abilities and now Professor X tells you a member of the X-Men. No, you have to practice. I'm giving you information long ahead of time that you don't have to experience yourself, but you're still going to have to take the steps in order to become good at them. It's not something I can do for you. Now, I can only imagine what I would have been like at my age currently if someone had given me this information. I feel as though it would have shaved tons of time off of my frustration and off of my years of, oh my god, I'm so impatient. I gotta, I want to do this. How the heck do I do this? And to be honest, a lot of professionals are gatekeepers. Like, they've experienced knowledge and they don't really want to give it out. They're of the camp that I had to figure it out, you should figure it out too. And I don't subscribe to that. I subscribe to the we should help each other out. It's only there is no competition. Right? There is no, oh snap, this person can draw better than me. Oh man, that stinks. That person does worse than me. Like, no, everything's all subjective. Everybody should have the same available knowledge as everyone else. And a lot of times people don't want that to happen because they're in pain. And they just want people to know that they're in pain, and they want to be helped to heal from that. And I don't feel that the best possible way for that to happen is for us to keep perpetuating that and being like, I had to suffer through the pain and frustration of learning these new techniques and learning how to get better, and you should have to suffer through that too, so that I can feel better about the pain and frustration that I had to feel to learn these techniques. It's cyclical. It's a snakehead eating the other half. It doesn't make sense. So why not just pass on what you learn? We're going to shut off the reference layer. Now, can you see what I got going on? Try and visualize the purple. Okay? Because I know that there's a lot going on. What the heck? But let's up the opacity on that layer. Can you see the purple? It's a scribbly mess, old man. Yes, it is. However, switch to black. Go to the Skeletor layer, because that's going to be Skeletor's inks. Now, yeah, it is a scribbly mess. It is a scribbly mess, my boy. I really think I need to change the batteries, or get new batteries for this wireless keyboard and mouse. You're right, it is a scribbly mess. However, I'm going to show you. Now, this is supposed to be a very old sword, so we're not going to try and make it super straight. That can be done, and I'll show you how. Whenever you want things to be as straight as possible, you loosen up your shoulder, you loosen up your elbow, not from the wrist. It's always shoulder and elbow. And you do what's called a confidence line. And confidence lines are fast, and they rely a lot on the pressure control in your hand, especially when you're working digitally. So, you go in, you kind of figure out what you're going to do, you loosen your hand up, and then boom, quick. Look at that. See how quick that looks? We'll do the same thing here. Boop, boop. Straight line, my boy. Now, you always want to start at the tip and work your way down. In this case, it looks as though when I start, it's thick and it turns to a point. So, we can Command Z, undo that line, start at this base, go that way. Start at this base, go that way. Now, Again, I'm working in Clip Studio Paint, so you hit C, it turns the brush into a clear see-through brush, and that actually helps you clean things up a little bit better than the eraser does, because you get the same textures and you get the same ability to go in nice and tight, not bluntly, and get all your stuff going there. Right, so it's X. Let's clean up our lines here. Boop, boop, boop. It's like I say, you clean as you go. Just like if you were a chef in a Michelin star kitchen. Alright. That's X. Alright, so see, there's the blade of your sword. Again. Batteries. So, there's the blade of your sword. Again, it's supposed to be old, so we'll give it some nicks. There's a little nick there, a little sword nick there. Okay, now if you remember, there's a line down the middle, and it leads to the center of the blade, which has that thing on it that leads into the handguard. It gives you the impression that the sword is strong. There we go. Except those two lines don't overlap. One of the things that I adore about my artwork is, and this is me patting myself in the back, a lot of my inspirations were guys that inked and emoted. Like their artwork, their line work was emotional. Like you could really feel the humanity in what they were doing. Watch this. I'm going to cheat. Okay, so you use that lasso tool I was telling you about, boink, and then you come over here to edit, you go to transform, you go to mesh transformation, so a lot of guys that inspired me inked, and they did it with brushes. And there was a lot of emotion behind their brushwork, their line work. Guys like Joe Kubert and Will Eisner, Alex Toth, Scott Roberts, just a bunch of guys that they used brush, and their lines implied cleanliness, but didn't necessarily have it. Like they implied like a straight line, but there was an element of humanity to it where it was a little crooked. It was almost as if they were part draftsman, but part storyteller, like great part storyteller. I mean, that's what I want. I want people to visually look at my work and connect with it on a human level. There's a lot of great stories out there that need to be told, and even if they're yours, they should be told. I mean, humanity should always learn how the other half lives, how everybody lives. You know, it's odd to just think that you're the only person that goes through something and not come to the realization that currently there are about 8 billion people on the planet, and you want to factor in the idea that there have been, over time, way more than that. Like, I mean, I don't even know what the mathematical odds or the mathematical formula or numbers are for the amount of people that have been alive on the planet since the dawn of man. But to think that you're the only person that's gone through something, It's really kind of self-absorbed. It's always going to be your perspective on your life is always going to be personal. It's always going to be the way you see things because you're the author. You know, it's your story, man. But to think that no one's ever gone through things that you've gone through, it's impossible. It's absolutely mathematically improbable. And it's mathematically improbable. So what that means is that somebody at some point in time has gone through the same situation, and you've either come out on the other side of it, or they have a valuable lesson to teach you in regards to how to handle it. So you should never feel as though you're alone. There's always somebody there that can help you, and whether or not they choose to, that's on them. You can't control that. But my point in this is that Joe Kubert, Will Eisner, Alex Toth, Scott Roberts all inspired me to add humanity to the way that I draw. And if you take a look at this sword, you can see that it was time well spent. We want to make sure that the tip of that sword from Skeletor points right at Papyrus. You want Skeletor to be really aggressive, like, I am gonna mess you up. But maybe Papyrus wins the day. You don't know, because he's looking up towards hope, and Skeletor is in his way. It's a little deep, old man. Yeah, it is. But that's what you do. So you need a fist, okay? Fist like that. Remember, thumbs are always on the inside. You absolutely want your thumbs to sometimes be perpendicular to the floor. You know what I should do? This is what I should do. I'm going to create an extra layer. And we're going to go all in on the staff of chaos. Yup. Okay. Now remember, I just told you about the lines and how they can make things seem a little more personal. Watch this. That is not good. We're going to go here on the inside, follow that line, and do that. Start small, and it goes larger to force the perspective. Okay? Now, go back to pen, and we come down here, and we make that line thicker with a little bit of people juice. What the hell is people juice? It's either juice made out of people or juice that people produce. I don't want to drink it. I'm trying to add humanity to this staff, like a little bit of weakness. And my thought behind that is, if that staff is not perfectly firm, if that staff is not a straight line, a mechanical straight line, then that means that it's fallible. And if that staff is fallible, that means, sorry, I'm doing cross-hatching here to give a little bit of texture and some depth, but if this staff is not all-powerful, if it is not as strong as Skeletor's presence implies, then that means that chaos and whatever's getting in your way is not is not as strong and as powerful as people lead it to or come to believe. Look at that. That's what we call memory. Alright, memory muscle. Or muscle memory. Memory muscle. Mine's not working. Nope. I think that's about as close as we're going to get. So yeah. Now we are going to need that reference layer again because the Staff of Chaos is more than just a ram's head on a stick. There it is. See it? There's. Oh man. I wish I'd have known that. I'd have played in there a little bit. Okay, so see? Apparently I came outside of the border lines for the staff. Well, if you looked at the staff, it has. There's some little wrappings for a handle. Almost like it's like a bow staff. See it? Here and here. Now the design is that that's where Skeletor can put these two hands. But that's not what we want to do. See, it's so he could hold his staff, or whatever the hell you want to do with it, because you buy that expensive action figure, you can do what you want. However, to me, come on, what did you just do? To me, those wraps indicate more of what I'm telling you, which is that it is infallible. Oh, the curves down indicate that movement, but if I put the curves up, if I add visual weakness to this staff, Skeletor's not as powerful. And Papyrus has a shot. So that's what I'm going to do. Kind of. So, I'm going to pull this away. Right there, although lights go across there. Now that does seem a little crooked. It really does. Yeah, that's going to be better. Sometimes you gotta correct as you see it. And then there's that. Nope. Where's this one? There it is. This is a tool that allows me to push lines around. It's a liquefy tool. It's frustrating, and I rarely use it because I haven't figured out how to use it completely to its best ability. So, there we go. That's a thing. That's definitely not the thing I wanted to do. Alright, so we take a zoom out. Scroll down, take a look at that staff again. There's some sort of little orb under there. So there we go. Oh, you know what? Because we're looking up, logically what's going to happen is the back shadow, the backlighting, is going to create a drop shadow on that orb. Okay? It's going to come from the back side because we are looking down, or we're down looking up. So all the shadow is going to be like that. And at this, watch this trick. Fill that in. It doesn't really have to be clean. I mean, you can want it to be clean, but whatever. What we're doing, well, that's not what we're doing. Let's see. What we're doing here is we are creating the shine that's on this orb. If you've ever taken a look at a cylinder or an orb, usually there's shine like that along the edges from where the light source is. The light source is above us, but there's also ambient light coming from a ground, below and around. Scroll back. Turn off the reference layer. Now, where we can erase this stuff up until the edge of the background. Make sure none of it overlaps. And you're going to see when you go to the backgrounds, which are set at 55%, and you do that, there you go. Look at that. So we can go right back to 55. Staff of Chaos. That's not it. It doesn't look like much, but when you add color, it's going to mean something. It's going to look better, lots better. Okay, so this. Ram's head? I think. Are we ready for the ram's head? Oof. Okay, so this is going to be kind of spooky. I don't want to really think about this. It's going to have to be done above it, and then we just bring it below and kind of erase what we don't need. So how about... Alright, yeah, that's something that I'm missing here. So X, back over to black, do this. Definitely turn this off. Alright, so there's that. Look at that. That's a pretty nifty little... Pretty nifty little hand. Staff looks good. We can... Over here. Turn off the staff accounts. We're going to attempt to draw the ram's head, and I'm going to copy it, I'm going to cut it, and I'm going to paste it above the Staff of Chaos, and then I'm going to move it around, edit the staff, and I'm going to erase the parts that overlap, and I'm going to paste it down and make it all one piece, and it's going to be pretty, not so much, but it's going to look intimidating. Alright, based on the sketches I have, where are we here? Characters. Let's go here. Let's see if we can't tighten this up. This ram's head, that horn is in a couple of different shapes, and then it goes there, and then around, and then like that. This goes this way, big ram's horn that comes down. Skull is shaped like that. Right? You know, this helps to have reference. Absolutely helps to have reference. However, I don't think they used reference when they did it, because it's not really a ram's head. I think it's meant to imply that he, like, his staff of chaos is like a monster's skull. Let's move down to it, okay? I'm stressing the use of, yeah, look at that. From the top, so I've already screwed that up. This thing, okay, cool. So, those horns, according to this, come in from the top, out there. Right, like that. Eyes are down here, we want to make them look menacing. Skull. Big old nose bit. And then that goes down here. Like this. Just like that. And these horns, they need to be bigger. Those horns definitely need to be bigger. So. Just like that, over. Then you're gonna say, oh, why don't you do on the other side? I'm about to. See, now they have to match the other side. Right, you need to come down like that. Out. Nope. That, and that, over, like that. Okay. So now I think I'm ready. See, this is the boring stuff that I have to do in order to get where I'm getting, like to do the things that I'm looking to do. Okay, so like I said, Skeletor, pen, thing. I want the skull, what's it called? Is it called like an orbital cavity or something like that? But whatever, where the eye holes in the skull, I do my best to make them look dark and just kind of like intimidating, you know, just really monstrous. That means like stray lines. They don't have to be strong lines. I try to make them like parts weak and parts thick, like thin and thick. Okay, like that, and then this goes down. And then do this. And then do that. Okay, this goes around. And then there's this. Now, I want you to keep in mind the fact that this thing is out of perspective. What the heck? Why is that not showing up? Oh, because maybe you didn't put your arm enough. Okay, so there's that. There it goes like that. Okay. Whoop. Now remember, I want this to be kind of intimidating and scary. So based on the thing here, right, he's got this little thing that comes down here, and the skull teeths, and then like up like this, right, and you're saying to yourself, how are you just doing this? Practice, kid. Practice. I spent a lot of time by myself when I was a kid, just really like doodling, reading. Yeah, reading like books on how to draw stuff and copying what I was shown in those how-to books. And it just became second nature. It's, like I said, muscle memory. Let's see. Horns. Beep. Those lines. Super shaky. They don't need to be strong. They don't need to be quick. Because it's an old staff. It's a staff of chaos that's been around for a long, long time. Because He-Man is always handing Skeletor his ass. So that implies, again, that chaos and anything that's standing in your way is going to keep trying because it's always going to keep failing. There we go. Like that. Boop. That is a weird line. So let's erase this. This. That's a little bit better. Alright, so now this thing is wonky AF. I'm just gonna take this. Alright, like I said, cut it. Then we're gonna go here to the Staff of Chaos. Do that. We're going to lower the opacity on the Staff of Chaos somewhere around 66 so we can see it and it doesn't look funny. We will turn off, where's the background there? Turn off background, turn off clouds, so we can see what we're doing. Turn off the sketch layer. Now, as we're looking at this, it is so wonky. It is so wonky. So we're going to do this. We're going to take this, and we're just going to do it over. Alright, there's that. That's a little better. So we can do, I think, this. Now, if I'm looking at it right, I grabbed a piece of the skull, and I don't want that. So we'll take the lasso, and we'll do this. T. Zoom back. Nope. Did not want to. Alright, do this. Now you'll notice the line disconnects here. This is where using the clear part of your brush comes in really handy. Because you can come in and you can get to those bits. And you can make them look like they never happened. Because, you know, shortcuts. Shortcuts based on knowledge, not based on being lazy. You work smarter, not harder. Look at that. That almost looks like that was an actually intended brushstroke. That can come out. Alright. Well, you notice that it doesn't really line up properly. Okay? And that's fine. We'll do this. We can go back. And this can go like this. Because Skeletor's kind of a jerk. And he's like, "Meow, Papyrus! You dare threaten me on the soil of Snake Mountain?" Because I did watch, in fact, a lot of cartoons as a kid. Where's that coming from? That's like I must have as a kid. It's coming from the Skeletor layer. How do you like that? Alright, so Staff of Chaos at 66%. We come down here. Like I said, we clean the overlapping bits. Let's do this, like I said, smarter, not harder. Okay, see that? Now, looks as though it's supposed to be there. That's the staff. We don't want the staff. We want the skull. Right? T. Okay, then we want to zoom in and see where we've caused problems. Because sometimes that stuff will, when it shifts, you'll move, like, logically so. You know, you move the skull, so things are going to be a little off kilter. Right? Alright, so that's clean. Now, when you bring up the opacity on this layer, boom, look at that. Scary. Turn off reference. Turn on clouds. Backgrounds. Now, you want to see something great. Go to clouds. Go to clouds. Okay. Come over here. Sometimes we clean as we go. Sometimes. This is just really quick, down and dirty. Beep. Alright. Working digitally also means that people are going to message you, and it's going to be the most important thing in the world to them, and it interrupts the things you're doing. Backgrounds. I said backgrounds! Oh wait, that's part of clouds. So busy messing around, I should have come over here. Done that. Did the clouds bit. Backgrounds. Come on. Look at how pretty. pull out this here. When you work with a mask layer, using something close to an erase tool will take things away. Using ink will put things on. So right now, what I'm doing is I'm using an erase tool. You can see how clean that looks? That looks so boss. Okay, so what I can do is I can go down here and do this. And it gives a slight visual outline to the sword, which draws your attention to it that much more. And okay, I know you're waiting for the money shot, kid. I know you want to see how this Skeletor turns out. I want to go to the characters. There is that. Look at what we got there. So we're gonna go. You know what I like to do? Let's go to the Skeletor there. Let's handle this cloak. This cloak with all of its drapery and amazing drapery tends to be a pain. You have to think about the thickness of the fabric, the type of fabric, how it folds, what the texture is, where the shadows are going to be. It's all things that you want to relax and just keep in mind. You don't want to overthink it. That is a weakness of mine, not mind. A personal weakness I have is that I tend to overthink things that I'm working on, and it doesn't help. It doesn't move things forward. Now, one thing I'd like you to keep in mind is that you can correct a line that's wrong. You can fix it. You can change it. Or you can erase it and do it over again. You cannot correct a line that you haven't put down because you're afraid of how it's going to turn out, or you want to do it without making a mistake. You're going to make a mistake. You're going to make mistakes. But you can't learn from mistakes if you don't try to make them. Now, there's a difference between knowing that mistakes are going to happen and looking to avoid them, but at the same time, there's also, you need to have grace for yourself. You need to allow yourself to make mistakes. You can't just run through life being afraid to make mistakes and not taking any action at all, because not taking action means that you lose out on a bunch of great opportunities, a great bunch of learning lessons. Like that. Look at that. And you don't want to do things that are just blatantly dangerous or silly, because people get hurt, or lives get changed, or problems happen, and you just can't take them back. However, Art is something completely different. You can always change. You can always change a line. You can always fix it. And some mistakes you can make because you're just going to make mistakes. And nobody's perfect, regardless of what you think. Even the people you look up to have made mistakes. And that's what's made them learn from those mistakes and become a lot better than what they appeared to be in the past. With this Skeletor cloak, that is beautiful. It's beautiful. I'm going to put some holes in here, just like on our cloak, the cape that Papyrus has. Did you hear that guinea pig? Oh, guinea pig. That's Starbuck. She's cool. So there's the cloak. You're going to have light coming from down or from above. And it's going to go and do this. Shaky old fabric. And this. Now I know it just looks like a mess right now. What the heck? What are you doing? But bucket tool, watch me go. Boop, 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 boop. Oh, that was an open area that I did not close. That was the end result. Oh, yeah, that's right. So back. Let's go to that. Now you can also add some textures to stuff. Sometimes there are shortcuts you can take. Hatched. Gauze? Not gauze. We don't want to do we want to try? Do we want to try gauze? Nah, not gauze cloud. Gauze. How about this? No, thank you. That's the wrong one. Cross hatching 4. Cross hatching. Rough cross hatching? Bring this open a little bit. And around the edges of those shadows, we can do this. That's what we're doing. And we can just choose another one. Watch them overlap. Get in there. Just take this. Beep boop. See the larger patterns blending with the smaller patterns make it seem like there's cross-hatching on the cloak and it goes from light to dark. So implying a light source without drawing a light source. Now, I'm kind of concerned with the way that I sketch Skeletor, so I'm going to hold off on that for now. There's a bit like, okay, so you take a look at this sketch right here, and he has like a loincloth that is 3 strips of leather with like points at the end of them. It's just the design that they have for him. But the way that I drew it was like, oh look, here's this, it's coming off of his quad. And then, oh look, here is the main piece, it's coming off here. And then there's a third piece, which is going to be coming off of there. So really, it looks like I just drew a dick. And I got to figure out a way around that, because that's not what I want. I don't want to imply something vulgar or imply some nudity when I really didn't. It's not germane to the piece. Like, the piece has nothing to do with like the comedy of nudity or anything like that. It's just doesn't look right. Don't look right. Okay, so let's take a look at his little gauntlets. His gauntlets are 3B flared right up the center. So where are we with the Skeletor thing? This. So we'll go like this, right? We'll go like that. Flare out. Flare out. To the middle, but up. Flare out to the middle. Just like that. And then arm, elbow here. It's always helpful to understand anatomy and how things are made and constructed and their purpose. And the reason for that is that it allows you to draw it a little bit easier, to understand it a lot more. So what I just did was I strengthened up what I already knew about the arm and went back and made sure I had the right designs for Skeletor's gauntlet. Skeletor, drop the opacity. Oh, no, wrong layer. We have a layer. So if you look, it's visually simple, but at the same time, his gauntlet is to draw. It is a little tricky because, you naturally, I feel the need to draw the gauntlet pieces. There's 3 of them. I feel the need to draw them going forward. But the truth of the matter is that when I say forward, I mean up. But the truth of the matter is that these gauntlets flare out and they go back towards the elbow. Back. Like that. And there's that. See? Make it bigger. So there it does that. It goes here. And goes here. Like that. And then it becomes like this. And then there are wraps underneath, which we can do some great stuff with. Fill that in. Switch over to clear. Oh, it's so hard. Nope. Boop. Doot doot. Okay, so draw some little dings in them because the purpose of gauntlets are to kind of be pieces of armor. They're for protection. And Skeletor should look like everybody wants to fight him. And Skeletor should look like his armor has dings in it, so he's tough, but at the same time, he gets his butt kicked. So, yeah. Oh, Skeletor, I kicked that kid's butt. Took his lunch money. What you want to do is just add detail work. My nose is itchy. Does that mean I'm gonna fight? I forget what that means. There we go. So all this white stuff in here we can fix. See, like that. Okay. So when you zoom back, you get a pretty good picture of Skeletor's forearm. I'm gonna draw his hand and clean it all up. heavy lines here for... You know what? No, let's go to Skeletor's lair. Increase that. Alright. Since we're on Skeletor's lair, we can clean this stuff up. Alright. Do that, because that is where this is going to go. And we do these things like this. I didn't realize I overlapped it that well. This. Nope. Saggy. Light to dark. There we go. How did those get so... Why is that set at 17? Okay, that's my standard. Okay. Do the thing. Look at that. That's a pretty decent arm, right? Let's come back to here. Look at that. Accent the staff, but we can show chest. And then come down here and do this. And then that goes like this. Chest. Shoulder. And you're going to remember that when we're drawing this, the perspective is down, looking up, so you can't forget your perspectives. You can't. It doesn't ruin it, it just makes it more difficult. Remember anatomy. You know, for me, it's easier to draw guys than it is to draw girls. I don't know what the deal is. It's easier for me, but I still do it. Because you want to always, I don't know if you remember, but one of the first things I said was, if something's making you uncomfortable, you need to practice it more. Like if it's something you don't know, that's right where you gotta go. That's, you just, oh, I can't draw this. Guess what? You're drawing it. It's like, you know that eating broccoli and Brussels sprouts are good for you, but hardly anybody wants to. I personally love them. But, you know, opinions vary. Okay. I want you to see something here. This, that, this. what we're doing. Look at it. Looks pretty good, right? Okay, so what I'm looking at here is this gauntlet. This gauntlet should run here because it's on the outside. But we got this hand. This. Oh, hey, here, man. Like that. So if you're looking at it this way, this, should be able to see some of that down there. Hand, on the side, brace, up, up. Do they curve? They curve. Look at that. Goes here. This goes here. With a bicep shape like that, with a tricep on the outside. So we'll get that in there. Quads, which should go up to the neck. And there's that. There's a skull. And then the limbs coming from that direction. So the cloak should go like that. And connect. And there's this. You know what I like to do is, a lot of people when they're drawing hoods, they forget that hoods are, at least traditional hoods, not like hoodies in a sweatshirt sense. I own a lot of them. Anyway, the hoods tend to have a little thing at the back. They tend to like come to a point. So the hood comes up, and then that little hood the little point tends to drift off too. It's almost like a little end of a sock or something, but that's what happens. And people, when they're drawing hoods, sometimes they forget those, and I don't like to. I like to remember that detail because it adds a little bit of comedy to it. I like funny stuff. What can I say? What are we at here? Layer 7. Where's layer 7? Zoom back. T. There is no object to transform. Clean as we go. Delete that layer. What is layer 6? Layer 6 is clouds. Pull that. Layer that is the original sketch. We'll pull that. 46. That's my reference for Snake Mountain. The guides. That's what we're having for perspective. The swatches for the sketches. Alright, go up here. Layer 8. Where you at? Layer 8 should go down to Skeletor. Bam! Sketties. But we are like almost done. Almost done. Almost done. I got some dead space to the left. I gotta figure out how I'm gonna do that. I don't have much time, but I can handle it. Okay, listen. I'm gonna call it quits for today on this particular thing. Like I said, we're almost done. We're almost in the home stretch. But I have to do a couple of things around the house here. I hope you're watching the videos and you're learning stuff. I will talk to you soon. I'm really still excited about GraniteCon. I can't wait. Hey, keep watching, keep learning, and I'll talk to you later.